I just choose to be vegan because I feel fucking awesome. I'm saving the planet and I'm saving the lives of animals.
I can help you out. 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 Here we go again.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining in. Today, as you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about how I became vegan. I feel like people ask me this question a lot. They always say, oh, that's really cool that you're vegan. Like, how did you become vegan? Or they say, I've tried to switch to vegan and I couldn't maintain it, or I just love meat too much. All these things are said to me, and so I thought that it would be a good idea to just sit down and have a chat about how exactly I became vegan and what my story is, and maybe it can help you if you are trying to be vegan or wanting to transition someday. So I do want to start off this video with a disclaimer that this is my personal journey to how I became vegan, and just because my journey worked for me, this doesn't mean that the things that I have done might work for you. The point of me sharing this video and sharing this information with you guys is to just be transparent and let you know the journey that I've gone through personally. If it can at all inspire you or, motivate you, if anything that I'm telling you can help you in any way, just want to say that I am not giving out any type of medical advice, health advice. I don't have any medical or health or nutrition background. I just have a background in conservation science. So what I'm saying about the environment does hold true. Yeah, I just want to start sharing with you guys the journey that I've been on because it really changed my life for the better. My life absolutely has gotten so much brighter and full of light and just laughter since becoming vegan. That sounds cheesy, but it's literally true. I've just become so much more calm, compassionate, collected, and just motivated in general. At one point when I started being really into science and loving conservation science and loving the environment and loving the world, I knew that becoming vegan would be something that I can do in my everyday life in order to help protect our planet for the future. So when I became vegan, to me, that was like such an amazing bucket list, huge life goal for me that I had. I always thought that vegans were amazing. I always looked up to them. I idolized vegans, and I always thought I could never be vegan because that must take so much time and it just must be so hard. But no, I did it. I became vegan, and if I can do it, you can do it too. So I'm hoping that my journey and my story maybe sparks something within you, maybe motivates you, and I hope that the things that I tell you today just help you and can give you some ideas about your own personal vegan journey. Growing up, I grew up in Maine, and we always had sit-down family dinners. Most of our meals would always be based around a meat source, we would have a side, and then we would have a veggie. For breakfasts and everything, growing up, I used to love milk. I just really like the creamy texture of milk. So I would always have a bowl of sugary cereal in the morning with dairy milk. Whole milk was a little too intense for me. I usually did like the 1% or something. So lots of milk, lots of cheese. We loved cheese. Basically just a typical Western diet is what I grew up with. So growing up, my mom was very healthy and would go through these diet plans, and we did the South Beach diet for a bit, which was, I think it was like higher fat, low carb. It's like similar to a keto diet. So around when I was in, I don't know how old I was. I think I was 8 years old, maybe 12. I don't know, maybe 6th grade or something. Was this before that? I don't know. I got chubby, and it wasn't my baby fat anymore. It was just me. I had gained weight, and it was pretty unhealthy. So my mom and me sat down and were like, okay, we need to do something about this. So I started eating really, really healthy with my mom because she went on a diet, and so I went on this diet with her. And I want to say I was in maybe 5th grade, possibly 6th grade. And so I went on this diet with her, and I lost 8 pounds. That is a lot of weight for a young child to be losing, and I felt fantastic. I was so proud of myself. All I did was eat healthy. I ate what my mom was eating. We just ate more like whole foods. We did like, it was called Nutrisystem or something, but we just focused on our nutrition and we did well. Fast forward into high school. For high school, I was going to a public school, and then I switched to a boarding school for my sophomore year. In the boarding school, we had a dining hall, and that is where we ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner with all the students and all the teachers, and everyone ate every meal together. So it was like a big happy family. And because I was living on my own, I was living, it was basically like a small college but for high school students. I had always loved eating healthy, and so I tried my very, very hardest to eat very healthy. I loved things like yogurt with granola. I ate lots of salads. I always would get lots of veg, and I just loved eating healthy. But the thing about the dining hall was it was only open for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that's it. So if you wanted a snack outside of the dining hall hours, you had to store something in your dorm room, and we weren't allowed to have refrigerators or anything, so it would have to be the non-perishable snacks. And in high school, I just didn't really know what I was doing, so I had like lots of chips. What else do we have? Like, I don't know what we had, like, ramen noodles, like those noodles that you pour the hot water in. We just had like really gross, processed, unhealthy stuff. But I was playing lots of sports, so I had been maintaining my lean physique. I was pretty fit. I was doing 3 sports a year and was also dabbling with weightlifting, so that was fine. Okay, so then I went to college in Arizona. I went to Arizona State University, and it was fantastic. This was when I was truly living on my own for real. And I was having to support myself. So this is when life kind of like hit me in the face, and even though I loved eating healthy, I was having to buy all my own food, and was having to go to school full time. And yeah, it just was getting hard to always eat healthy. Especially when I was in a dorm room, I couldn't cook my own food. So that was a big problem for me. So then when I moved out my sophomore year and I got an apartment, when I started having my own apartment and my own kitchen, I started cooking a lot more. In college, I was pretty into partying, and I was drinking a lot, partying a lot, going out a lot. I was really active. I was working full-time. I was doing school full-time. I worked in a lab. Like, I was just going hard all the time. I was always caffeinated, like always. Needed caffeine to get all that stuff done and be able to pay my rent, pay for expenses from school, and pay for food, cook food, blah. So I was just like going really, really hard, and I kind of think I ran myself into the ground a bit, because when I graduated my senior year, I wouldn't say that I was like lean anymore. At this point, I was just like skinny because I was partying, and sometimes I wouldn't eat because I was so busy and I was having so much caffeine, and then when I would eat, I would binge, but I was always go, go, go. So at this point, I was just skinny. And then, so I graduated from college, and I'd always, in the back of my mind, looked up to vegans. I'd always been like, wow, vegans are the coolest people ever, because they spend so much time of their day making sure that they eat things that are meat-free, dairy-free. And I'm like, that must take so much time and planning and organization, but also just like passion, like the motive or the passion you must have to put all that time into your food and what you're putting into your body. I always was like, that's the coolest thing. I was like, those people have life figured out because they're investing in their health in the best way possible. And I was like, oh, vegan people are just so kind and so like awesome and down to earth. Not all of them, but I just very much idolized them. And I always knew one day that I was going to be vegan, but I just didn't know how to get there. I was very intimidated by it. Ate meat, fast food, milk. So then when I was in Arizona, I kind of, towards my senior year, I was turning 21. I was turning 22. I was becoming more aware of my health, and I was like, I need to maybe stop partying as much and really focus on the foods that I'm eating. So in order for me, because I had this idea in my mind that I wanted to become vegan, one day I wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna become vegan. Like, no, I always thought I'll try out being vegan, and if I really like it, I'll keep doing it, and we'll just see how it goes. Or I'll try being vegetarian. So that is what I did. I started off really, really slow, and that's the key point here is if you're going to have a huge lifestyle change like I did, take my advice and take it slowly. Take it slowly, because at certain points I tried to just cold turkey things. I tried to just completely remove things from my diet, and I got sick. So there's a correct way to shift your lifestyle, and that causes minimal stress in your life, which will obviously increase adherence to your lifestyle change. And that is to just go slowly so your body can adapt and your mindset can adapt. Okay, so the first thing that I did to become vegan is I stopped eating red meat. Now, this is something that a lot of my friends have done. For me, this was pretty easy because at a certain point, I kept thinking like, I want to be vegan, but this food's in front of me. Like, it was always in the back of my mind. So it came to a point where I was reading all the things about red meat, how there's high carcinogenic levels in it, how it can lead to heart disease. I was reading all these things, and I was like, maybe I should just start there. Like, I don't really need red meat. At this point, I was loving chicken, loving like fish, seafood. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Growing up, I grew up in Maine, so we ate a lot of seafood as well. And the seafood in Maine is usually covered in butter. So that was just another thing to add to my background is I used to eat lots and lots of meat and seafood, raw oysters, crab, lobster, just all of it. I loved it. I love all food, So yeah, I'm just not a picky eater at all. I just choose to be vegan because I feel fucking awesome. I'm saving the planet, and I'm saving the lives of animals. So, anyway. And it has also made me an extremely compassionate and kind person compared to the person that I was before. I'd like to point that out. Maybe that's for another video. I could go on and on and on about that. So, okay, the first thing that I did, I stopped eating red meat. So for me, this meant that I was no longer eating things like hamburgers, and I was no longer eating things like steak. And so what this also did for me was it cut out fast food for me. When I stopped eating red meat, I told myself I'm no longer going to eat fast food, because what's the point? If you can't get a hamburger from a fast food place, and fast food thing, that's just like, ew. So when I stopped eating red meat, I stopped eating fast food, and that was massive for me, massive. And it did a lot for my health. Like, I felt awesome. Just that one change, I'd felt amazing from it. Like, fast food is disgusting for you. It is full of sugar. It is full of empty, refined carbohydrates. It is full of nasty, nasty chemicals. There's a reason it's called fast food, right? Good food ain't fast, okay? Just like your transitions to things, to lifestyle changes shouldn't be fast. Fast food is not good for you in the long run. If you eat it occasionally, whatever, do your thing. But eating fast food all the time, especially when I was partying a lot and we'd all be like, oh, let's go get some like Domino's pizza. I didn't need it anymore. So I stopped eating the fast food, and it kind of eliminated those times where, like, you weren't hungry, but someone just suggests as something to do just because, you're bored or something. So it kind of eliminated all that unnecessary eating when I wasn't necessarily hungry, if that makes sense. So I stopped eating red meat around my junior year in college. So that was in 2018. Yes, 2018. I have not stepped foot into a fast food restaurant since 2018, except for one time when I really had to pee when I was traveling. I went into the McDonald's bathroom and I felt disgusting being in there, and I was like, I can't. I hate this place so much. I should not be in there. So it just reminded me not to go into those places. The second thing I did to become vegan is I switched from cow milk, from dairy milk, to almond milk. And you can switch with any type of nut milk, just not from dairy. And so this switch for me wasn't that hard because I liked the taste of almond milk. I know some people I speak to and they're like, I don't like, for example, my mom, she's like, I don't like the way almond milk tastes. Like, I'd rather drink milk. I said, Kathy, that's fine. However, there are so many kinds of nut milk now. Hazelnut milk, pistachio milk, oat milk, soy milk, almond milk. There are so, like, within these milks, there's like variety. There's like chocolate, high protein, unsweetened, sweetened. So all these little things make them taste differently. Okay? So if you're like, oh, I don't like I would switch to almond milk, but I don't like the way it tastes in my coffee. Try oat milk. I swear to you, oat milk tastes better than any other kind of milk in coffee, including cow's milk. Okay, it's really creamy, it's really good for you, it's high in protein. It does have some traces of gluten, so if you're gluten free, you can't really do that. Okay, so that's my second step to how I became vegan. 1, I cut out red meat. 2, I stopped drinking dairy milk and I switched to almond milk. When I graduated from college, I decided to move home with my parents in Maine for 6 months before I was moving to Australia in January. So when I was home for that 6 months, I was working a fuck ton. I had 3 jobs at one point because I wasn't in school anymore, and I was like, wow, I have all this time to work. So I was working 3 jobs and I was saving up money to go to Australia. So when I went to Australia, I was going to be studying and I knew it would be harder to get a job. At the time I was bartending. So while I was home for these 6 months, I was working a lot, but I didn't have school as a stressor. So I had this like extra space in my brain to put forward some energy that school had been taking up in my brain for a while. So I really got back into weightlifting. I was going to the gym regularly, and I really was toying with the idea of being vegan, being vegetarian. I think I tried being vegetarian for a week or something, and then I fell right back into it. It was hard living with my parents because, you know, we would eat meals together and I would just end up eating what they ate. Or when we went out to dinner, we wouldn't choose very vegan-friendly places, obviously, because, like, I wasn't vegan. Yeah, so I was toying with this idea of becoming vegan, and then something kind of snapped in my head in November of 2019. So it was right before Thanksgiving. The snow started to fall. I was feeling very kind of like depressed-ish. Not depressed, but I was just like, I want to go now to Australia, but I knew I had to stay, spend time with my family, because I'd been living away for like 7 years prior to that. And I knew that I had to spend time with my family and work and save up money and then go to Australia. So as much as I really wanted to go, because I felt like I was moving backwards in life by moving back home, which I wasn't, by the way. I was just doing what I had to do and saving up money and seeing my friends that I grew up with. That was awesome. So yeah, I started being like, okay, I think now is the time. In the back of my mind, I was like, maybe when I go to Australia, then I'll do it and I'll do all this big change at once, just so it'll be easier. But November, I officially became vegan in early November of 2019. That's when I officially became vegan. Since that Monday, I have been vegan. Not to say that I haven't cheated a couple times. Whatever. Not to say that I haven't had things like cheese or a muffin with some milk in it, or some icing, or a piece of cake. I don't know, desserts were hard for me. I think at one point I like tried a piece of chicken, like a bite of chicken, but I was like, that's disgusting. I don't like it. So I've never like fully went back. I stayed vegan because I was like, this is great. I did notice a lot of changes immediately within like the 2-week mark. I noticed my skin looked a lot more healthy and glowing, and it kind of cleared up a lot. I noticed that my cognitive function was insane. My attention to detail, my energy levels, and also my memory were all like becoming amazing. I've kind of struggled with my memory, but since becoming vegan, my memory has come back a significant amount. I felt very light and like clean and clear, if that makes sense. Like I just felt like I wasn't like jacked up on caffeine. I felt like internal energy to the point where it's hard to explain. Like I think it was also had something to do with I was hitting a really big life goal of mine. And so I had this really amazing energy and just aura and presence, but just on a nutrition and bodily level, I felt a lot less sluggish and I felt very like alert. So this brings me to the point when the story gets a little less happy, because now I just want you guys to learn from my mistakes and what I went through personally. So I had cut out red meat already. I had cut out dairy milk. So when I switched to becoming vegan, basically all it meant was I wasn't eating any meat and I wasn't eating any cheeses, anything animal product related, no desserts, no cookies that weren't vegan, nothing with no creamers, anything like that, and coffee, no milkshakes, ice cream, no pizza, no cheese, unless it was vegan. So that it wasn't that hard for me because I was able to cook my own food. And so I really started loving cooking. I started making vegan pizzas. I started making vegan tacos, vegan stuffed peppers I really loved. What else did I make a lot of? I made a lot of avocado toast. I made scrambled tofu a lot. I also made like vegan scrambled eggs, because in America they have this type of product and it's called Just Egg, I think that's what it's called, but it's a vegan egg substitute, and it comes in a little container and you just pour the liquid in and you just cook it like it's eggs, and it's really good. So it's pretty good for the beginning. What I was also doing, which I would recommend you don't do this, so I was trying to eat high protein because I was weightlifting, but I didn't really actually know what the fuck nutrition was. I just thought I did. So I was eating lots of beans, like trying to eat things like I knew like peanut butter had protein in it. At this point I wasn't tracking macros and I wasn't taking protein powder. I didn't really have a concept of macros at this point. I was also eating lots of leafy vegetables to the point because I went through a phase where I thought carbs were really bad for you and like breads and blah blah blah. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is I got really bad GI and gut problems because I didn't ease my way into becoming vegan fully. I kind of cold turkeyed it, and so basically I got really constipated and I had really bad gas, which was painful and it just wasn't fun. So just gonna be transparent with you because I know that other people have gone through this too, and I don't really know how many people are vocal about it, but you can avoid this. So basically, by going cold turkey, when I mean cold turkey, I just mean you fully switch into doing something. You're not really giving your body a time to adjust. So because going vegan, you're eating a lot of fibrous foods. Fiber, there's two types of fiber, but basically if you're eating too much fiber, your gut bacteria in your gut, these little bacterial cells that you have in there, they like to eat the food that you have and it helps you digest and break things down. So when you're eating an influx of all these healthy vegetables, you're like, yay, I'm eating healthy, but plant cells have something called a cell wall, which animal cells do not have. And this cell wall is used as a protective thing for the plant, because that's basically the plant's only defense mechanism is to be hard, whereas animals can like physically attack you. Plants have things called a cell wall, and that's made out of something called cellulose. You need to have the right flora in your gut biome in order to break this down. So we have bacteria living in our gut, but if you're eating something like a Western diet, for say, and you're eating kind of low amounts of fiber, high amounts of refined carbohydrates, you don't have a very diverse range of gut flora in your gut that can help you break down these foods. So when I became vegan, I started eating all these things I wasn't eating before, like chia seeds, all these types of vegetables, all these types of fruits. And I thought I was being healthy, which a lot of people would tell you that you are being healthy. But what I didn't know is that you have to go slowly. You have to adjust. Your gut, your stomach has to adjust slowly to this copious amount of new micronutrients and new nutrients that it didn't get in these quantities before. So what I'm trying to say is, when you switch to becoming vegan, it's actually a really good idea. I know some of you might be super excited, like, hell yeah, I'm motivated, like I'm ready to go, and just want to completely switch one day. You can do it that way, but you probably will run into some health problems. So things I suggest is just going step by step by step. For example, starting 1 month without red meat. The next month you can be cutting out dairy milk. The next month you can be, okay, no meat. The next month can be, okay, no more dairy at all. See what I'm saying? Just go slowly so you give your body time to adjust, and you can avoid things like extreme bloating, extreme gas, extreme constipation, all those fun things. In my last video, I said I moved to Australia in 2019. I meant to say I moved to Australia in the beginning of 2020. That's what COVID did to my brain. It just fucked me up. I don't know what year it is. I still don't even know what year it is. So that was basically from when I went to so that was basically from when I went to switching to vegan in November of 2019 up until about the end, I want to say the beginning of 2021. I suffered really bad digestive issues. And I was really, really frustrated because I was eating like salads, smoothies, just like Buddha bowls, tofu, like all these super healthy things that I thought was really healthy. And like they are healthy, but just my body didn't really know what to do with these nutrients because I didn't give it the right amount of time to adjust. So going slowly and taking things like a prebiotic and a probiotic can really help your gut adjust to this influx of healthy foods. A side note also, there are things called leaky gut, and also you can have cellular inflammation, which is you think of inflammation in your body. Now think of inflammation on a cellular level. So that's every single cell in your body that your body is made up of. Millions, trillions, billions, gajillions of cells. Each of those cells can be subject to inflammation, and that can come directly from the foods that you're eating. Basically, shitty foods are going to make you have higher amounts of inflammation. I hate to say it, but things like gluten, things like processed foods, dyes, artificial sweeteners, sugars, all the things, not natural sugars, just processed foods are what can cause inflammation. So I kind of was eating healthy before, but not really. So I had inflammation in my cell on a cellular level, and then my gut, I had really bad gut problems. So this all combined, for me, made me very sick, and just was really unhappy because I was really frustrated, and I started to gain weight as well because I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and I just got really frustrated, and I tried to eat different things, and it made it worse. And so this brings me to my keto journey. So I basically reached out for help with my gut problems because I was getting really frustrated and it wasn't fun. Not every day would be really bad, but some days I would bloat to double the size of my stomach, and that is painful. Like, that's not comfortable. It just was not comfortable at all. It was painful, and it just made me like not enjoy food. I just was getting really upset and like anxious when I was eating, so I was like, wow, I wonder if this is going to like make me look like I'm pregnant. Anyway, so then I reached out for help, and I was told that the reason I was getting so bloated was because I was eating a lot of carbs, a lot of carbohydrates. And I don't necessarily disagree with this, and just because this is what I was told doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that what I'm saying with my journey pertains to your journey at all. So I then went on a keto diet journey. I went on juice cleanses, I went on a keto diet, and I will put a picture up here of what I looked like after my keto diet. I was very thin. I was like the thinnest I'd ever been. I was told to eat around 12 to 1300 calories, and this was when I was also weightlifting 5 times a week, sometimes 6. I was working out 6 times a week, and I was told to eat 1200 to 1300 calories and go on a juice cleanse. I just absolutely like ran myself into the ground again. Mind you, this whole time I'm in Australia, I'm back in school. I'm doing my master's program. That was like college on fucking steroids. That shit was the hardest shit I've ever done, and the stress that it gave me, because it was a lot of internal pressure that I had, because I really, really care and I'm very passionate about conservation science. So I was just dealing with the stress of school. I can't even really explain it to you. Like, people are like, oh yeah, school is stressful. It's like, no, that was my master's thesis and my master's program. Like, that's like literally what I feel internally. Like, and it just, yeah, you have the fear of like letting others down, letting yourself down, blah. And COVID was happening, so I was just like, I was like bloated, COVID's happening, I'm stressed out, like fucking shit's hitting the fan. I was freaking out, I was so thin, and yeah, so I ran myself into the ground after that. This picture here, I then went to do my field work on Heron Island, and I couldn't keep up anymore eating that low of calories. I started tracking my food like on and off on MyFitnessPal a bit before that, and then I went on my field work and my Fitbit broke, and I was so busy I decided to not track my food anymore. So I was there for 2 weeks. So what happened then is an unintentional reverse diet, because I was just starving. I was absolutely starving all the time, and I was just eating because I was working so hard, and I had just literally starved myself for like 2 months. So I just ate until I felt full, and when I got back, I had actually lost 2 pounds, and I was eating way more food than I was eating before. So that opened my eyes up so hard. I was like, wow, when you just give your body the food that it needs, you feel so much better and you can actually lose weight. I was also doing things like I would do a 6-week challenge, lose a bunch of weight, and then wouldn't reverse diet out of it. So I would gain the weight all back. That's what we call yo-yo dieting. And it's really not fun. It's really bad on the mentality, because you work so hard to get to a point, and then you finally get there, and then no one tells you what to do after to help you maintain it, and then you gain the weight back. So that was upsetting. So then I decided to hire a coach who specializes in reverse diets. She helped me with my weight training and gave me some macronutrients to hit and a calorie level, and on this journey, it was a reverse diet. And a reverse diet means slowly moving your calorie intake up to the point in which you start gaining weight, and then you stop. And that is when you know what your maintenance calories are. So that's the point of reverse dieting, is to work your way up slowly without gaining weight to know your actual maintenance calories in a way that you're responding to your actual body and not just reading something off the internet, off of a calculator. Because how is the calculator supposed to know how many calories your body or my friend's body is supposed to be eating? Like, the calculator cannot actually know. They can just give you an estimate, and an estimate isn't exact. So if you want to do it the right way, I suggest going through a reverse diet. I might make another video on that. So anyway, I went through this reverse diet, and my carbs were put up. I think I started off around maybe like 190-ish carbs, and I worked my carbs up to 260 grams of carbs, and my calories all the way up to 2,145 calories a day is how much I was eating. So on this journey, I started actually not being scared of carbs anymore. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm just gonna eat carbs, because I'm so sick of restraining from eating carbs, from not eating bread, not eating things like pizza. I would have these insane cravings, and then I would just binge, and I would gain the weight back that I had just lost. So from the point in which I started my coaching, which was in November, up until now, when I started in November, I came to my coach, I was eating 1,400 calories. 1,400 calories. I think the highest I'd ever eaten was like 1,600. I'd never really gone over that. One time I did a challenge, and I was told to eat 1,600, and I thought, no, surely that's way too high for me. So I changed my own calories down to 1,400, because I always wanted to lose weight, because I thought I was fat. I don't know. Okay, so I started at 1,400 calories, and over the course of 4 months, I worked my way up to 2,100 calories. That's insane. And so I started eating carbs. And once I started eating like normal amounts of carbohydrates, I fixed all of my gut issues. It was awesome. It was the best thing I'd ever done. I literally was not constipated, was not bloating. I just felt amazing. I had so much energy. I was so like ready to go for my lifts in my workout. I also started eating breakfast. Something I didn't do for a while was I didn't eat breakfast, but I started eating breakfast. I started eating carbs. I started hitting my macros, and dude, I felt fantastic. My gut issues really did fix themselves, and it really had to do with what I was eating. When I became vegan, I was really, really proud of myself, and I was really happy. And so experiencing those issues, I knew it wasn't going to be like easy right away. I knew I was going to hit some roadblocks, but then going through that, and I didn't really have any guidance or what to do, it was kind of really frustrating, because at times it made me question, why am I putting my body through this? Like, why didn't I just go like eat a piece of chicken and some rice? I really just had to stick with my my passions and my morals, and I really had to just keep my head on straight and say, I can figure this out. Life, you have to go through things to figure them out. So I really feel the best I've ever felt now. I'm in Thailand right now, and I'm still vegan, still loving it. I'll never go back to not being vegan. I don't drink and party as much as I used to. I feel really great. I feel very connected and very grounded, and I'm very aware of the things that I put on and into my body now, and I will never ever switch back. I know it seems hard, and it's very daunting, and it is hard. It is a lifestyle change, right? You're not just vegan. Becoming vegan isn't a diet. Becoming vegan is a lifestyle change. You literally have to reprogram your brain about nutrition and nutrients and think, okay, I used to think my meal is based around the meat, but now I think my meal is based around my protein source, and my protein source is going to come from a plant. So the way I plan my meals is now, as I think of a protein source, a carb source, and a fat source. For example, if I want to have a Buddha bowl, like a poke bowl, I'll do like fry up some tofu, I'll do some brown rice, and for my fat source I might have like some wasabi mayo, and then I might have like broccoli and mixed veggies, and then crush up some nori seaweed on top, and that would be a complete meal for me. That would fill me up, and I'd feel really great after that. So that is how I became vegan and living my best vegan life. So I'm editing this video right now, and I just had some thoughts that I realized I didn't actually say. Basically, for my vegan journey, what this meant for me was that I was able to connect with my truest form of self and really connect with myself on a spiritual level, and I was able to express myself and practice everyday behaviors in a way that aligned perfectly with my core values. And for a long time I was living my life, and I wasn't exactly doing the things that I thought that I should be doing or that I could have been doing that were within my own reach, in order to make this planet a bit better, and just doing something in my life that I know will affect the world in a positive way. So for me, becoming vegan, yes, it's a lifestyle change, but it was way more than that. It was literally a transformation, and it allowed me to literally express and connect with myself on a level I've never connected with myself before. And I feel so much like myself now. Like before, I don't even think that that was really me, like if that was really Mo or not. But now I just feel like every day I live my life and I'm like, I am the most authentic version of myself, because I am actually doing the things that mirror my core values. Yeah, so I don't think I got very deep with it, but I just wanted to say that piece, because that's a big part about shifting your lifestyle, right? And it's challenging, it takes time, it takes dedication, but I promise you, if you have always looked up to being vegan or thought about being vegan or just had that thought in the back of your mind, I promise you that when you give yourself the opportunity to take that step and to allow yourself to be your truest form of self, you will feel a type of happiness that you've never felt before, because you are actually letting yourself be who you are. So that is how I became vegan and how I'm living my best vegan life. I really hope that this video helped maybe inspire you or give you some type of motivation moving forward. If you have any questions or any suggestions about future videos moving forward having to do with becoming vegan, just drop a comment below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel, please. It really helps support me. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video.
I can help you out.